It is now time to elevate.
Time to motivate them.
Let's engage. It is now time to elevate.
Hey everyone. Thanks so much for joining in on another episode of Engage, Motivate, and Elevate with your host, Monet Foxx. Today is such a special show for me because it is with my family, Vincent, Foxx, Valerie, Foxx. We are celebrating 45 years of marriage and a third book release, 27 years of mentoring and coaching, all in one household. So please help me welcome my aunt and uncle, Vincent and Valerie Foxx, to the show.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for staying tuned in for another episode of Engage, Motivate, and Elevate. I am your hostess, Monet Foxx, and it is such a pleasure to be with you here today. I have a super special show planned. My aunt and my uncle, Vincent and Valerie Foxx. Hey, guys.
Hey.
They are here with me today. The show is about love. It is about entrepreneurship. It is about community. It is about all of those things. It's about family. And so no better people to have on than my aunt and uncle. So we're going to get right into it. So first and foremost, I want to congratulate you guys and tell you happy anniversary. You all are going to be celebrating 45 years of wedding marital bliss on the 15th? I'm going to say it wrong. The 18th.
The 19th.
The 19th of July. July 19th. So happy anniversary.
Thank you.
45 years. How does that happen? How does that happen?
You want to answer that question, honey? How does that happen?
A lot of hard work and togetherness and ups and downs, and that's part of life. It's how you deal with it. You know?
Yeah. Now, Uncle, interesting because you have a boy and you raised my other cousin, so mostly boys around you. If you had a daughter, right, and understanding how people don't date these days, what advice would you give to your daughter around dating or around talking to a guy these days?
Well, first of all, I have more nieces than nephews and sons.
I know.
I got many nieces and nephews. I mean, many nieces. Anyway, I would I'd say to her just to be true to herself and pick, it's about partnership. It's about togetherness. I would tell her not to rush into it. That's for sure.
Right.
But I wouldn't tell her too much because she has her own mind and her own life. So I would just say anytime you needed me or wanted to talk, I would be there.
Right. Marriage is such a patient experience, right? It's an evolving, patient experience. Auntie Val, what do you think? Because we have our ups and downs in these kinds of relationships. When you guys were maybe at one of the lowest points, and I don't want the example of that lowest point. I want to know what you did together, and even individually, Auntie, to help get you guys up out of that low point. What kind of things worked? Was it just communication or were there other things that needed to be in place?
Yeah, communication was definitely the big one that we needed to have, because a lot of times you find that when you're having disagreements or your lowest point in your relationship, it's because someone's not listening, that someone's determined to think that they are right, and that does not leave your mind open for another person's opinion.
Right.
I think that communication and being vulnerable and saying where you are, a lot of times and I've been guilty of it myself, is that I've always been the strong person. So I put up a shield sometimes, I don't need this and I don't need that because I can do it.
Right.
But what you learn in a marriage is that you have to share with your partner and let them know how you're feeling. I mean, they don't have ESP.
Right.
To know that, you're struggling with something. So I would say just be authentic and vulnerable. And that means talking to your partner about how you feel.
Right. And Auntie, I'm self-proclaiming you an expert on it, right? Not just because of your 45 years of marriage, but also you have developed a very strong skill set to articulate this love, right? You're working on your third book that's going to be coming out. Now that's on the 15th, right?
Correct.
The 15th is a special day, the July 15th. I knew it was a special day for something. So you're launching your third book. Tell us the name of the book.
The name of the book is Our Love Story, Our Life's Journey.
Okay. So our love story, our life journey, and that can be found on Amazon for all you guys watching in. Make sure you guys take a look. Our love story, our life journey by Valerie Foxx. And in that book, Auntie, you broke down some key things that a person in a relationship needs to kind of be mindful of or remember for it to be successful. Can you kind of go over those things with us?
Sure. It would definitely be trust. And we talked about communication.
Right.
Accepting responsibility when you are wrong. Or, when you have a disagreement.
Both of you smiled on that one. I'm coming back to that one.
That's tough. And be willing to forgive.
Right.
Those are key things. If you want to have a happy, successful marriage, as Vincent mentioned earlier, it is hard work. I don't care how many years you are married or in a relationship. You got to work on it every single day and never take anyone for granted.
Right. Now, is the love based on, once it gets to 45 years, does it become more, well, he's my best friend. Well, what else am I going to do but work it out? Does it become that, like, at a certain point?
I believe so, but
I do too.
Not at the expense, though. If you're in a relationship where you don't love each other, you're not going to want to work it out. You've got to have the love there. And for us,
it's a strong friendship. So
we were lucky.
I wouldn't know what to do without her right at this point, Mom.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have been so fortunate to have met at such a young age. You went through decades of change together. That's just such a tough thing to accomplish, to be together with it, right? Because oftentimes someone changes and that's when you're starting to rethink what you're doing in your relationship. Oh, well, maybe we'll go our separate ways because we're on separate things now. But to be able to kind of stay together. And Uncle, you did something very different. I mean, Auntie's a writer. You actually were into more athletics. You were a basketball coach for 27 years. You had your own program. You were doing that. How did you guys balance, like, okay, now it's Vincent's turn to build up. Okay, now it's Valerie's turn to build up. Did you all even take turns? Like, how did that kind of work with you all getting your own goals out there?
Well, first of all, we had a production called Lincoln Fox Productions, so that kept us pretty close too, and we gave shows, entertainment shows, and with my organization, Val was there every step of the way. I was like out the house 6 days a week, and we were just busy. And so I decided to step aside from that, and now I'm giving her all this support that she needs to get her books done and whatever else she has to accomplish.
Right. Now, were you surprised to see, Uncle, when she did her first book, were you surprised that she had done that, or did you already know she had that skill?
No,
did she surprise you with it?
She should be a motivate speaker somewhere, but no.
A professional one, because she does it. She is that already, but professional, you should get paid to do it, right?
Correct.
Right.
But no, it didn't surprise me. No.
Okay.
And one of the things was when I was writing the book, Vincent went along on the journey with me. I mean, there were days where, because the first book was a personal book and it talked about my past. It was a healing process for me. And so because he was there at the beginning when things happened back in the 70s, and now I'm writing about it 30 years later in 2017.
Right.
He's there to watch me as I go through those emotional changes in the process of it all. I could go and talk to him, or he could look at me and see. You read each other after a while. He could look at me and see there was an issue. Honey, are you all right? Or, and then I could say no and say what's happening. Or sometimes it was just a look or a hug or no words at all.
Right.
And so through all his business ventures and my business ventures is that we always took time to support each other, no matter what the business was, because his business is my business is his business.
Yeah.
I would tell her in a minute to take a day off, take a break, get your mind right, and that helped her a lot.
Yeah. So they have a cliche where it says teamwork makes the dream work. I think you guys are a great example of that. Being able to take turns and and even show a level of patience in allowing the other person to excel and giving them that time to really do their own thing and be in that mix. I mean, that's going to
make your relationship. You cannot stop this person from her dreams.
Yeah.
His dreams. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I'm proud of you, Uncle. You know, you did a good job.
What was that laugh for?
No, I mean it. You did a good job, man. I think that you're definitely my best and only, I think, example of a married couple.
Wow.
You know, which is sad on
That's
some levels,
sad.
but
Yeah.
but it's also a great reward to have you guys. You know, Auntie Val, you've always been an extremely abundant giver. You know, always ready to share and to talk. Uncle, you've always been very loving and very considerate around me, particularly my son and things like that. So, you know, I applaud you both. I want to talk a little bit about some of the influence and impact that you've had or that you had in your program before you retired, Uncle. Talk to us about some of those kids that came through there, some of the effect that they may have had and some of the impact that they might even still have now. They're still calling you these days, right? Still saying thanks.
They still come by here and there, you know. I don't expect them to, but it's always nice to hear from them.
Sure.
Well, through the program, it was all about saving young Black kids at the beginning. But then, you know, I had white kids, I had a Russian kid. So it didn't matter what kind of kid or where you was from. I just took kids in that weren't busy enough or, you know, they have all these other programs out here. The parents couldn't afford it or because my program was free.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We charged nothing. So we just wanted to influence kids and save them and mentor them through basketball. So it was a wonderful thing. Every time I think about it or see the pictures, it's, you know, it feels good. It feels great because I know that we've done some good. Yeah.
When you take a personal interest in a child, I mean, I think that the impact is it's forever lasting. You know, I think that those kids are going to continue to stop by and tell you thank you, you know, when they're in the area and things like that. So good.
So as I was doing the program, I also became a big brother from Big Brothers Association. And I met him at 10 years old. He's now probably 30.
Wow.
And we still keep in touch. And he became a nice young man. And his mother was just so thankful of me for that. And
good.
I'm just happy that I can do it. And I had the hot time and mind to do it.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, we need more men like you. You know, there's a lot of young boys out here being raised without that type of discipline and guidance. Correct. So whenever someone's willing to step up and do it, especially to someone that's not their own, I mean, it's such a big deal. It can't go understated about how special that type of person is. It takes a certain kind of soul and a certain kind of being to want to help on that level. So, you know, it's definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
And if I might add, about the Yellow Jackets Youth Organization, what impressed me most about them is that it was run by a bunch of volunteers, other African American men who were willing to give their time and share their knowledge with the kids. And it wasn't only about basketball, as Vincent mentioned. It was about teaching them about love and life skills.
Right.
And so their parents and relatives were truly impressed with the program, as well as us following up with them educational-wise, too, because if their grades weren't right, we got phone calls. Well, Vincent got phone calls from the parents and grandparents. And so monitor their progress, show them good love, and hug them at every game and every practice.
Show them love.
And it was showing them love. And so it was a wonderful thing to be a part of Vincent's organization. It brought me great pride to see the work that he was doing.
Yeah. No, it was amazing work. And let's talk about your books, Auntie. Give us a brief synopsis of the first two books, and then I want to go into a little bit more detail about the third one in terms of the content and stuff.
So quickly on the first, but all of them are really personal memoirs. The first one was about my journey, which focused on life and death situations that we all face in our families. And the point was to encourage people to tell the people that they love, I love you while they're alive and not wait until they're gone.
Right.
The second book was a book about my mother's life journey. Both my parents were born in the South in the 30s, and it's called The Unfinished Book. It's a glimpse into my mother's incredible life journey, and
Right.
she and I both co-authored that book, and it is a glimpse into her life, because if anybody you know is in the 80s or a 90-year-old and you're fortunate enough to be able to have a conversation and talk to them, the history is amazing. Some
Right.
of it is repeating itself today because we don't know a history from the past. So I'm really proud to have worked with my mother on that book. We are blessed that I have a great relationship with my mother,
Yeah.
as well as Vincent has an outstanding relationship with her as well. So all the books, the main ingredient through all of them is love.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a powerful word.
And so this most recent one, this is about you and Uncle Vincent's love journey, you all's experience from the time that you met
Yeah.
all the way now, 45 years later.
Yeah.
And so I'm super excited. I want to definitely read the book. I'm excited to, actually, I want to read the second book too, the memoirs about your mom. I'm interested in reading that and even talking to her a little bit more. I wish that I had grandparents around to sit and like hear old stories around, you know, like I always thought that was the best way to pass down history, especially family history, is to listen to an elder in your family talk about it. You know, I just love that kind of experience, and that you have it in your mom, and to the point where you're able to articulate it back to others. That's a wonderful, wonderful gift. So I'm super proud of you guys. You know, I thank you so much for being on the show too. Happy anniversary. Make sure you guys check for my aunt's book. It's going to be on Amazon on July 15th. Say the name, Auntie, because you go over say it wrong.
Our love story, our life journey, and it's Valerie Foxx with 2 X's, like Monet.
That's right.
F-O-X-X. Hey. So if you just put Valerie Foxx in the search line, you will see the books pop up. But also the good news about July 15th is all day long, that book will be available. The digital version of the book will be available as a gift from me to you. So please log in on July 15th, either on my Facebook page, or you can go directly to Amazon and put in VALERIE space Fox, Foxx, and the book will pop up, and you click on the link and you can download it for free, 1 day only.
Awesome. All that information is going to be listed at the end of the show for everybody watching. You guys have 4 more days to get it together, so mark your calendars for the 15th so that you can get a free copy of the downloadable version of the book, okay? It's a great love story. It's super important. I actually think that it's going to be more of like a guidebook, right? You know, something that you can look at your own personal experiences, learn from your own mistakes, and also see, you know, whether your partner is somebody that's willing to try just as hard. Because what I'm hearing from you guys, you just have the components, but the willingness was there, right? So you have to have that first. You know, the willingness, I think, has to be there first to do all these things, to make these sacrifices and these adjustments and these compromises for this one person that you feel is just so special. If that willingness is not there, then that's when we get exhausted, or we feel like it's not worth it, or we don't want to even argue about it because we don't care to, you know, we don't care enough about the person. So take my aunt and uncle's word for it. You know, courting is probably a better situation for us that struggle to have like long-term relationships. Take your time. I'm so grateful for these guys. They set such a great example. I hope you guys take a look at the book when it comes out. Like I said, it's July 15th. So on that day, she's going to have a free downloadable version available for you guys, and all the information is going to be listed at the end of the show. Make sure you take a look, okay? Thanks again for coming on the show. Vincent Foxx, Valerie Foxx, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. We love you. Thank you so much.
Too. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Engage, Elevate. Oh, I'm saying it wrong. Engage, Motivate, and Elevate with me, Foxx. Thanks, guys.
Love you.
See you.
It is now time to elevate.
Time to motivate them.
Let's engage. It is now time to elevate.